In this video, I'm making Italian subs, but before we get started, go ahead and subscribe if you have not, and let's rock it out. So for this sandwich, I'm going to want some extremely thin slices of red onion, and I'm just going to kind of take my time when I do them because I don't want them to be uneven, and I want them to be super, super thin like this. So you can see how thin these are, and of course these are going into water because I don't want them to overpower everything else on my sandwich. So right now for my Italian sub, I'm just slicing up some really nice thin tomato slices. I don't like them to be really thick on my sub for two reasons. One, I just don't like anything overpowering anything else. And the other thing is I feel like when they get really thick, it kind of makes the sandwich like slippery, like it wants to kind of move while you're trying to eat it. And I don't know, maybe it's in my head, but it seems to help when I do the tomatoes thinner. So I'm cutting like this nice thin sliced beautiful tomatoes that are going to go onto our sub. And of course, you know, I'm going to take a second and take the seeds out. I don't like them in there. I think that they are a little bit bitter and they're a little bit slimy, so they're coming out. They are not going on my sandwich. Leave them in if you want. Here I just have a little piece of iceberg lettuce and I want to chop it like super, super thin. When you have these sandwiches, they never have like a really, well, I suppose they do, but I would say the classic way to do it is to do this like super thin kind of shred. I would definitely do this by hand and not a food processor because I think the food processor is going to give you some watery lettuce. We'll deal with that little piece in a second. But this is what you're going for. Nice thin shreds. And you know what? Actually, Inky Doo would love this. So this goes out to the tortoise along with my other little scraps here. And this is going to get put to the side. Okay, so let's work out this vinaigrette. The first thing that I have is a tiny little piece of garlic, and I'm going to run the back of my knife, not the sharp side, but the back side over it just one time to kind of get it going. Maybe once with the sharp side, get it kind of minced up a little bit before I throw it in my food processor. I realized the food processor would do it, but I put it in here the other day and it didn't do it right, so just do it by hand if you're having that same problem. I also have a little bit of fresh oregano, and I'm just going to pull back down the stem and put some of those into my food processor. And you can kind of adjust this however you want. If you don't have fresh oregano, you can use a lot less dried. So maybe, I don't know, a half of a teaspoon of dry, let's say. And I'm using somewhere around a tablespoon of fresh. I'm not going to use all of this. I think that that's going to give me a nice little flavor in there. And I can always add it to the sandwich if I feel like it needs more. So next I want to add a little bit of red wine vinegar in there, 1 tablespoon. I'm making a vinaigrette, so my measurements are going to be 3 to 1. So 3 olive oil or veggie oil. Actually, I'm going to do 2 of olive and 1 of canola oil, just so that the olive oil flavor doesn't get too strong. So I have my 2 olive in there, and I'm going to go ahead and add my 1 of canola. Feel free to do all canola if you want to. If you find olive oil to be too strong, that's fine. And I just want to pulse this up. You know what we didn't add, guys? Salt and pepper. You gotta have salt and pepper in there, so teeny little bit. I'm not using all that, maybe a pinch. Notice how it came together all beautiful in there? A little bit of pepper. I'm just gonna do that one more time. Little taste. Yummy. The olive oil is a bit strong, just so you know. The other flavors are going to kind of mesh and meld though. And side note, I thought about putting a shallot in here and I decided against it only because I'm using the red onions on the sandwich. So I'm just going to go ahead and transfer this into a little Tupperware because this is actually going to be for dinner. I'm just kind of getting everything ready ahead of time. Plus that gives the flavors a chance to kind of mingle. Is this gorgeous? I mean, it's gorgeous, right? So into the fridge it's going to go. Okay, so pretend that we're on a hot stove, but I'm gonna work on my counter right now. So right now I took one of my sub rolls, I cut them in half, and I buttered them inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my hot pan, right? It's gonna go face side down. This is gonna get nice and hot and toasty in here. I'm also going to go ahead and layer my meat. So it's gonna go pepperoni, hard salami right on top. I messed it up, guys. Alright, here we go. Hard salami right on top of that. This is ham, genoa salami, and spicy capricola. I know everybody doesn't fry it in the pan, and that's okay. I don't care, because you can do like any of these things that you want. Any of these are going to take your sandwich up a level. The frying in the butter, the cooking, you know, your little meats inside of the frying pan. You can do one of them. You can do all of them and have the ultimate sub sandwich. I'm doing all of them. This is going on high heat. I'm actually going to take this, and by the way, if you worked in a restaurant, you would go ahead and form this and put like wax paper under, parchment paper over and under, and then you do another and another and another, and every time if somebody orders, you already have it layered. Isn't it wonderful? So I'm actually going to take this, put it onto my plate. I'm going to take this back off of here. I'm going to get my pan smoking hot, and then I'm going to put everything back in it. Alright guys, this is for real this time. I have that layered meat that I just now showed you how to do. That is going right into my nice hot pan. That's going to start heating up. I'm going to flip it over in just a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to add the cheese on top of it. Also going into my pan is that buttered sub bread right here. It's going to go right next to it. This is going to toast up. This is going to get nice and hot. Beautiful things are happening. Alright, are you guys ready for this? Let's check what we have going here. Beautiful. See it? Take that off. Let that toast another second. Give these guys a flip. It's okay, I'll fix it in a second. I'll fix it, no big deal. Yeah, those might have got a little overdone, but I'm not going to get too concerned. You know what? They're going to be delicious. Go ahead and add your cheese. Oh yeah! It's going to get melty. It's going to be good. Let's plate it. So I have mayonnaise on that bottom bun, and then I put my meat right on top. Going to put another nice little layer of mayonnaise. This is my top bun that I have going here. Layer of mayonnaise. Make sure that you go edge to edge on your mayonnaise, of course. Next, I'm going to take my lettuce and put it in this little container. Alright, lettuce into the container. I'm going to pour just a little stir here. Vinegrette. Give that a nice little toss. Oh yeah, nice, nice, nice. Okay, this is going to go as my next layer. Gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Tomatoes right there. Pepperoncinis. I love these things. I don't know what it is. I've been on a pepperoncini kick lately. I've been wanting them on everything. And those red onions. I know. It's gorgeous. It's going to be so tasty. I don't know why I'm nitpicking over how these are going to be, but there it is. We get everything on there. We got our lettuce, we got our tomatoes, we got our pepperoncinis, we got our red onions, our meat, our mayonnaise. We're good here, you guys. There it is. I'm just going to make it pretty now. Totally almost forgot something, guys. Basil. Fresh basil leaves going down on there. Now we're ready. And this is what it looked like when it was all plated up and yummy, and this is what it looked like when I cut it in half.